Some stories make us feel safer when we believe they are fiction. But this story is not fiction. It was served as dinner in a real house, at a real table with a real human body. Armin Meiwes was born in 1961 in the quiet town of Rotenburg, Germany. His childhood? It was far from ordinary. When Armin was just 8 years old, his father abandoned the family and never returned. He was left in a large, empty house with a cold, emotionally distant mother. He had no siblings. He had no friends. Only silence and imagination. By the age of 12, Armin had a terrifying secret. He began to fantasize about eating people, not out of anger, not for revenge. He believed that by eating someone, that person would stay with him forever. It wasn't about death. It was about never being alone again. As an adult, Armin appeared normal. He was a calm, intelligent man. He joined the army, then worked as a computer technician. His colleagues described him as quiet, polite, perhaps a little shy. But behind his polite demeanor lay a secret life and a hunger he never dared to share. Until the internet opened a door for him. In 2001, Armin discovered a forum on the dark web, Cannibal Cafe, a platform where people imagined eating or being eaten, or claimed to imagine it. Most users were joking, role-playing, but Armin was dead serious. He posted an ad, seeking a man aged 18 to 30 in good physical condition, willing to be cut up and eaten. Soon, someone responded, Bernd Jürgen Brandes, a 43-year-old engineer from Berlin. He had a good job, a long-term relationship, and a very dark secret of his own. He wanted to be eaten. Not just to die, but to experience being eaten piece by piece. A fetish? A mental illness? No one knows for sure. But what we do know is that he was serious. Bernd and Armin exchanged messages. They discussed everything in detail. They agreed on the method. Bernd even signed a consent form giving Armin permission to kill and eat him. On March 9th, 2001, Bernd took the train to Armin's house. That night, they sat down to dinner, steak and wine. They smiled, they talked, and then they turned on the camera. Yes, everything was recorded. That tape is now locked away in police archives. But what's on it is too horrifying to put into words. Bernd asked Armin to cut off his penis, and Armin did it. Bernd screamed, but said he wanted to continue. They tried to eat the flesh raw together, but it was too tough. So Armin fried the flesh in a pan with garlic, butter, and wine. Yes, this really happened. Bernd was losing blood rapidly. Armin carried him to a warm bath and tried to make him comfortable. Bernd's consciousness came and went for hours. Finally, he said, "Do it now." Armin kissed his forehead and slit his throat. After Bernd died, Armin hung the body on a meat hook and began to dismember it. He carefully removed the organs, muscles, and flesh. In total, over 20 kilograms of meat were stored in the freezer. Over the next 10 months, Armin slowly consumed Bernd. He prepared meals with potatoes, wine, and candlelight, savoring every bite. For him, this was not murder. It was a spiritual union. Armin later said, "He now lives inside me. He wanted this, and I loved him." Armin thought he had gotten away with it. However, nearly a year later, he went back online to search for a second victim. This time, a user reported him to the police. When police entered his home in December 2002, they were met with a nightmare scene: a clean kitchen, a functioning computer, and in the freezer, labeled and dated bags of human flesh. On the shelf, the complete book of meat, and on the table, a videotape showing everything. Armin confessed immediately, calm, emotionless, honest, cold-blooded. He wanted to die. I did what he wanted. I'm not a murderer, he told the investigators. Germany had never seen a case like this before. Was it murder or assisted suicide? Can a person legally consent to being eaten? In 2004, Armin was sentenced to 8 years in prison for murder. However, public outrage was immense. A retrial was ordered. In 2006, Armin Meiwes was convicted of murder and disturbing the peace of the dead. He was sentenced to life in prison. Armin is still alive. He is being held at Castle Prison, where it is reported that he reads the Bible, avoids eating meat, and says he regrets what he did. However, those who have interviewed him say, he is intelligent and polite, but when he talks about the murder, his eyes light up. A journalist put it best. He still believes it was an act of love,